Okay, there we are. So how to create momentum in your singing. You guys, if you are signing up for a creative life, a creative journey, you're signing up for inevitable ups and downs. It's just the way it is. And sometimes it can really feel like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 4 steps back, 3 steps forward, 1 step back, right? You get it. And this is normal, right? The journey is not linear. It's not just like straight, right? And when we think about other types of careers, other types of journeys that we go on with in our lives, if you're not in a creative pursuit, like let's say you want to be a doctor, right? Okay, you go to college, you go to med school, you do your internship, you do your residency, you pass your boards, you're a doctor. And that's pretty for most people. Yes, things happen, but that's pretty much a linear progression. But it's not that way for singers or for, those of you who are involved in other creative pursuits, acting, fine arts, right? Any creative pursuit, it's not that way. And yet we get into this mindset oftentimes of trying to ascribe our creative journeys to other things and compare and despair. And when we do that, we lose momentum because we don't see like the linear progress because it's not linear at all. Okay. So, how do we create momentum in our singing? Well, it's really about 2 things. Well, I'm going to say 3 things. It's really about 3 things. So, first thing, it's about your psychology. What's going on in your psychology, right? Like if you're not getting the results that you want, either from your technique, from the auditions you're doing, if you're making recordings and you're putting them out there and you're getting like a couple thousand plays and that's it, and they really kind of languish without mainstream attention, then, there's a dial that needs to be tweaked. If you're feeling like you're putting yourself out there and you don't even know what more you could do to get better results, there are 2 dials. There's your psychology, and then there's your what we're going to call your skill set. Okay, like the tools, your strategy. There's psychology, and then there's strategy. 99.9% of the time, it's going to be something that needs to be tweaked in your psychology, because with the psychology that can sabotage your strategy, then you can't really tweak dials in your strategy if your psychology is going, I'm never going to get this far. How is this working for me? Making meaning out of things. I botched the last audition. I'm not the right look. I don't have the right sound. This, that. But no matter what you do for strategy, if your psychology is sabotaging it, then the strategy is not going to be more powerful. So it's only ever 2 dials, psychology and strategy. So first, look at psychology. How am I thinking about my journey? Do I have limiting beliefs? Do I have old stories that I'm attaching to that don't serve me, right? A limiting belief. Like if you're trying to be a professional singer and do this like full time and really make your life doing this, not need another day job. And yet you have a belief that might have been given to you, might not have even been a belief you chose, but given to you by your family, by society, by conditioning, your peer group. If you have a belief that's like, it's impossible to make it as a professional singer, that's a weed in the garden of your psychology. Because if you inherently have the belief that that's really unrealistic and impossible to make it as a professional singer, then the actions that you take, the strategies that you implement are all going to be looked at through the lens of, well, it's impossible and it's unrealistic. But if it's impossible and unrealistic, then you won't act on your own behalf in ways to go get strategy, to go beyond your comfort zone, to fight for the things that you want. Why would you do that if the belief is it's unrealistic, it's impossible? You won't. And then you will have created the self-fulfilling prophecy that it is impossible. Okay? So we always want to look at psychology first. And then with that, then we get to tweak the dials in strategy. But the strategy, in this case for singers, strategy means a few things. It means your technique, What's going on when, you audition, when you record? How are you showing up to make the impact with your voice? Do you have a voice that you can rely on? Can you deliver when it counts every single time? And strategy around the practical things. How many auditions are you going to? Are you putting yourself out there? Do you have a website? Do you have management? Are you taking meetings for management? Are you, all of the career practical things as well. So what goes in the strategy bucket are those kinds of things, as well as your technique, the tools that you're showing up with, how you perform, how you deliver when it counts, and the strategy and tools that you use to be able to do that. So in a weird way, it's kind of simple, because the way that we create momentum in our singing is by knowing which dial to tweak. Do I have a psychology thing going on? Do I have mind weeds? Do I have limiting beliefs, old stories that don't serve me, perhaps even old traumas? I was talking to a singer recently who had a really horrible experience with a voice teacher in a vocal program in college that she was at. And that really traumatized her, and it prevented her from being able to implement the strategies that would have otherwise gotten her where she wanted to go. So is it a psychology thing? Is it a strategy thing? Know which dial to tweak to be able to create massive momentum. And then here's the most important part, I think, which is have a peer group that serves you to where you want to go, and experts that hold you accountable to everything that you say you want. So we, for example, are having our final 7-day online ProSinger Career Accelerator Masterclass series coming up in 2 weeks, starting on November 14th. And we do these, sporadically throughout the year. And it's a 7-day free masterclass series, like 90 minutes a day, each day, from 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern, each day, to show you how to specifically create momentum. What are the tools that you need? What are the things that you're doing that are getting in your way? And what it's like to have experts hold you accountable, and what it's like to be in a community that is holding you accountable, because we do this in a group. We have, hundreds of people who show up to this training, and you get out of it what you put in it, but what you learn is a totally new way of approaching your technique, your psychology, your strategy, what you're doing, so that you get better results in the long run than you would otherwise get from traditional training. So anyway, point being, it's almost November, guys. So Halloween today. Happy Halloween, by the way, right? October 31st. Tomorrow is November. It is November. Are you where you want to be in your singing career this year? Did you accomplish the things that you set out to in January? Think about it. Those of you who are watching live, think about it. Think about the goals that you set in January for your voice, for your professional singing career. Did you achieve them? Did you accomplish them? Or are you watching another year go by of being really disappointed and really frustrated because you don't really feel like you're much further along, and you haven't really solved the issues and you're still dealing with the same issues that you were dealing with back in January? It is because you don't have a structured support and expert guidance for your psychology and your strategy, and a community to hold you accountable to get there. And this is normal. Like, this happens to us, you guys, because it's really hard. If you think about it, like, if you're going to run a marathon and you're training for a marathon, and you guys know, like, team in training, right? It's like a great way of training for people who do marathons and stuff like that, right? And so if you're training with the pack who runs, a 7-minute mile, all right, you're going to go 7 minutes to go a mile. Now, if you train with a pack who is running a 4-minute mile, they're in a completely different mindset. They have completely different tools, strategies, and psychology, because they're trying to do something that's a higher level of difficulty, that has more resistance to it, that has a little more discomfort around it. But everybody has a common goal. And so now you're running with a pack who's doing a 4-minute mile, and you're going to rise to that because you have community, you have accountability, and you're all working at the same level versus, and I don't mean the same level of running, I mean the same level of being serious, and the same level of passion and goal for what you want. So if you look at what you're surrounding yourself by this year. So if I said, did you accomplish the things that you wanted to in your singing? Now we're coming to the end of 2024. Or are you still dealing with the same frustrations and disappointments that you were dealing with back in January? If the answer is yes, look at who you're surrounding yourself by. Look at the experts you've been surrounding yourself by. If you're still dealing with the same issues, then perhaps that type of training, those kind of experts are not serving you. Look at the community that you are surrounding yourself by. Are you in a community of perhaps your family and your friends and everybody who thinks that it's totally unrealistic to make a career as a singer? You know, oh, it's a fun thing. Yeah, you love doing it, but it's not realistic. Like people who are putting sabotaging thoughts in your head that will keep you playing small. If you surround yourselves with people who are playing small, that's what you are marinating in all day long. And it becomes very difficult to go beyond your comfort zone and do the things that will move the needle to get you where you want to go, because nobody else is doing it. They're not supporting it. And the energy is here. Okay. And this matters. It matters big time, because you will absorb the energy from the people you surround yourself by. And the energy of the group always falls to the lowest common denominator. I've seen it over and over and over again. And so, you know, if you're surrounded by people, you know, it's an election season, right? Election is coming up in like a couple days and people are freaking out. And if you're surrounded by people who are, you know, in this environment, right, like doomsdaying it and worst case scenarioing, and then it starts to feel like, oh my God, it's a doomsday, it's a worst case scenario. And then that's the energy you're living in, and you're not empowered to do something that actually might shift for you what you're up to. Versus if you're in a community of people who are like, we're empowered, we're doing things, we're getting things done, we're making a difference, we're making a change. That is a very different energy, okay? And it has an effect on your results. So what affects your results, what affects your momentum, to speak to our conversation today, is your psychology, your strategy, and your community. Every one of those buckets can either speed up your momentum or slow down your momentum. And so if you're looking around and you're like, wow, I know it kind of sucks, but Arden, you're right. I am still dealing with the same disappointments and the same frustrations in my voice, in my singing career, as I was in January. And I set these high goals for myself, and I said I was going to do this and I was going to do that. And maybe some of which you've taken action on and not really gotten results because the action wasn't really born out of possibility, but instead out of fear, maybe. Or maybe it was born out of just limited knowledge, right? And you need a better strategy. You need better experts. You need a better community. Whatever it is, I want to put this invitation to you out there. Do not coast through the end of the year. We still have 2 months till the end of this year, and how you show up and the actions that you take in these next 2 months dramatically affect the results that you will get in 2025, because you're either going to set yourself up to win, or you're just going to set yourself up to keep running the same negative feedback loops and getting the same frustrations and disappointments that you were for the whole, 2/3 of this year that have gone by. So I have seen a lot of change happen in 2 months. You guys, those of you who watch me all the time, we have a 4-month intensive training program, and we have singers who are booking gigs and landing auditions within the first 2 months. So I know firsthand how powerful it can be when somebody shows up for 2 months. And you can too. When I say show up, I mean decide that you're not going to keep doing the same things and getting the same results. Because if you continue to do the same things with the same teachers, in the same community, with the same tools, you will continue to get the same results that have been frustrating you since January, which is why nothing has changed. So my invitation to you is, do not coast through the end of this year. It's very easy to be like, oh, it's Halloween, and then it's Thanksgiving, and then it's Christmas, and then it's New Year's, and it's just so busy, and just kind of write off the last 2 months of this year and say, I'll get to it in January. No. I want you on fire so that you launch into January already on fire, already getting results, already in confidence and consistency, knowing what your steps are, having that psychology and that strategy so that you're just like a house on fire in January while everybody else is starting from that place of, well, they coasted through the end of the year and now they're having to start to like put their big girl pants on, and like start, and it feels so much worse because it feels like a heavier lift. Okay. So the idea that 2 months is a lot of time to make changes, guys. Don't fall into that holiday distraction. And by the way, the holidays are my favorite time of year for professional singers because there's a ton of work for you. How many, every church in every town is doing a Messiah right now. So for those of you who are classical singers, if you are not reaching out and auditioning for all those Messiahs they are casting right now, like do it, get out there, put yourself out there. There's holiday festivals, there's professional caroling, you guys, there is so much work available for professional singers this time of year. And if you don't feel confident enough to go after it, if you don't feel like you can trust your voice enough to deliver in those situations, then that's something really important to look at, because the money you are not making is a cost to you in many ways. Okay. Don't keep kicking the can. You could be making money right now. Don't wait till January. You could be getting more certainty and more consistency and more impact out of your technique and your voice right now. Don't wait and kick the can till January. Okay. And so my invitation to you is come to our ProSinger Success Collective. This is our group that a lot of you are watching in, right? We're doing another 7-day free online masterclass series. Starts in 2 weeks. Registration is open. I'm going to give you the link right now. I'm putting it in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube, it's in the video description. This is how we're going to get you rocking. Okay. So this is the link. Oh, wait, I have to put it over here too for those of you who are on Facebooky. Okay. Register for the Masterclass series. Okay. So you guys, it starts November 14th. Registration opens, actually it opens tomorrow, but I think you can do it if you put it through now. It should be fine. Save your seat. It's free. Okay. This is my gift to you guys to show you that there's a different way to train that includes community that's running the 4-minute mile, right? Like if you just tuned in, we were talking about, do you want to train with the pack that's running the slower mile, or do you want to train with the pack that's, all on fire and accountable and coachable and resourceful and doing all those things, going beyond the comfort zone, cheering each other on, right? And learn what it's like to train 360 so that you are training the dial of your psychology. You are training the dial of your strategy, and you have community and experts to hold you accountable to do it. So it's funny because I just really want to be like, don't be stupid. And I know that's like whatever. And I say that with all the love in the world. But what I mean is like, don't make choices in the now that maybe feel comfortable. Like, oh, I'm going to be so distracted come the end of the year. I have all the holidays or whatever. No. Like this is exactly what we're here to support you past, which is we all want to go to stupid. What I mean by that is we all have that stupid in us that trades short-term comfort for long-term security of what we really want, which is why you need to come to the ProSinger Career Accelerator Masterclass series to give yourself the best tools to set you up to be on fire through the remaining 2 months of this year so that you rock into 2025 like a blaze. Okay. So that is my main juice that I want to give you today, is that you have a choice. You can coast, or you can make a decision that'll serve you to what you want. And if those of you who are watching on the YouTube, I should have put that. Let's see. So do any of you have any questions about this? Because I see we have a bunch of you watching live. Do you notice that you're coasting? Do you kind of feel like you need a little bit of momentum to get you through the end of the year? How did you answer that question when I said, are you, if you look back, I mean, we're almost done with the year. Are you still dealing with the same frustrations and issues in your singing, in your career that you were in January? Like, let's get honest. Tell me in the chat. Are you? There's no blame. This is not a blame and shame game at all. For most of you, you've been a casualty of a flawed training system. It's not your fault. But it is your fault if you're presented with something better and you don't do it because you just want to stay comfortable. It's just it's the holidays, it's Thanksgiving and Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have a choice. You do. So that's my invitation to you. Join us for the Masterclass series. Let me and my team give you some tools to help you be on fire towards the end of the year. This is the last free training that we're going to do for 2024, and I don't want you to miss it. So be there. All right, everybody. Have a great Monday. No, it's not Monday. What is it? Thursday. Have a great Thursday. Have a happy Halloween. Bye, everybody.